What is going on, YouTube? So before we even get started with today's video, I wanted to make 2 quick points to y'all. And before we even started with those 2 points, I wanted to thank y'all for the support on my channel, and the past couple of videos have just been going up. And what I do want to say, thank you so much for all that, guys. Honestly, it means a lot to me that you're even watching this video, or your thumbs up in the video, anything like that. And if you're brand new here, or if you've already been here before and you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. That way we can make our channel grow, and also hit that bell so that way you can always be notified when I do upload videos, so you can always, find some happiness or content or entertainment in my idiotic self. Point number 1, guys, what I do want to say is that in this video, I I don't want to say super, I'm just use a better word, highly mentioned that I'm going to be using the podcast video that you're about to see. I wanted to put it on like an audio version only on SoundCloud or iTunes or Spotify, and I mentioned that a couple times, actually a lot of times in this video. And unfortunately, guys, it was a lot harder to do. I am not doing it right now at this point. I wasn't able to get it up and get it working. But what I will say is that once it is up and once it is working, I will keep you guys updated on that. And I will also, go ahead and post that link to it once it happens. But right now, unfortunately, guys, it's not going to happen. So I do apologize for that. The reason why I'm so upbeat right now, guys, is because I had a little pre-workout, and I'm about to go to the gym. So I'm just kind of high on energy right now. So I do want to apologize if I seem so like, oh my God, this guy's all over the place. But guys, and also point number 2 in this video, as you can tell from the title of the video, it's a friendship video. Now, what I do want to say before I even make this point is that this is a trial and error episode. If you're watching this video right now, listen to my words. This is a trial and error episode. What I mean by that, this is a first podcast video format that we wanted to do simply to make podcast videos. Honestly, I loved it and I enjoyed it, and I know Peter enjoyed it. I do want to come out with more. I will be posting at least one of these at least once or twice every 2 or 3 weeks, because I just like the flow of it, the content of it, and the ability to just freely express yourself. And honestly, it just excites me that I'm going to be creating more of these, whether it be by myself with a new person, or by myself, or even just with Peter, because this is going to be a mod podcast. Peter's not always going to be a guest, or Peter's not always going to be even a guest host. There will always be different people. But point being is that I enjoyed the content, but unfortunately, guys, we did a really good job of just doing the podcast video, but I felt like we didn't talk about the topic of the video until the end, because we got so caught up in our past and the juiciness of our past. And honestly, we still enjoyed it no matter what, but we just felt like we didn't talk about it as much. And I kind of went super quick and fast at the end over the topic at the end. I kind of just wanted to throw the last beats in there. So I do apologize for that. Like I said, it's a trial and error episode. We are going to be posting more of these podcast videos more eventually as time comes. And what I do want to say also is that I know that if you have YouTube Premium, you can go ahead and download this MP3 version only. That way you can listen to it just like a normal podcast on the way to radio, on the way to your house, or on the way to your job, or on the way to the gym, or even at the gym or something like that. Now, if you just still want to listen to us idiots talk, you don't necessarily have to watch us talking. You can just press play on your YouTube button and go ahead and click that. And you'll honestly hear 2 idiots speaking and talking about each other. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let's get started with the video. Sorry for my rambling. I just had to express those opinions. Those points. Sorry for that. Bye-bye. What is going on, everyone? So today, as I promised, we're going to be making my first podcast video. And I don't have a name for the podcast yet. But I'll probably call it something stupid like Adventures with Alex. And also, I'm just announcing this to everyone, including Peter. I'm sorry, there's a dog in the background barking. Peter actually doesn't know this, but I do actually I found a way how to put this audio into Spotify. So I'm going to be creating I have a Spotify account already. I'm going to be putting that in a podcast for Spotify. That way you guys can go ahead and click the link down below. If you're driving, voom voom. If you're driving down the street and you want to go ahead and listen to the podcast and just hear some dumb people talking together, then go ahead and click the link down below and go ahead and subscribe to that, or just follow me on Spotify. I've never really used Spotify before, so I don't know how it goes on following subscriptions. So Anyways, guys, as promised, the first guest is going to be none other than Mr. Peter PC3 Chavez. And if you guys, just to give you guys a reference, if you don't know who he is, to give you a quick background before we go more into detail of stories of who we are or who he is. So if you didn't know, Peter has been with me before I started YouTube. People call him my best friend. I don't necessarily call him that, but people call him my best friend. He's been in the YouTube journey with me since I first started. He used to edit my videos a while back. It's probably like about 2 years ago. And he helped me through some of my rough times. And also he helped me, get out of the darkness and start to come back into YouTube and, start creating some more videos and content and stuff like that. So that's who Peter is, and I'm gonna go ahead and let him introduce himself, even though this is gonna be his first time talking. So let's go ahead and see how he does. So go ahead, Peter. Who are you, Peter? And tell something to the crowd that you want them to know about you.
Well, as you already mentioned, I'm Peter Chavez. I'm a logo photographer here on the side. Hopefully one day it can be a full-time job of mine. I'm going to school for business management, so maybe I can use that to help make my own business. And right now I'm helping you do this podcast. How do they cuss?
No cussing on this podcast, guys. We are trying to become official. Also, another thing to note, this is our first time podcasting, and we're going to, improve better as we go, and we will get another mic soon. But just to give you guys a quick backstory, this whole podcast, as you can tell from the title of the podcast itself, is revolving around friendship. And who better than to bring on than the guys you call, the people who around us say that this is my best friend. I don't ever say that, but this is what he says and everybody else says. So that's what they believe. So I guess I have to live that life too. But first and foremost, let's go ahead and go back into our past, and then we're going to come around and bundle up the idea of the whole podcast itself. So just to go quickly give you guys a rundown of our past. I moved to this street, which is West 21st Street in Mission, Texas. We're not going to say our addresses because we don't want you guys to come kick our ass. But I moved on the street in 2003, and I was just a random kid who was didn't have no friends, still don't have no friends. Moved onto the street. There was two dudes. This guy named Anthony, who's another lifelong friend of Peter's, and Peter as well. So we all kind of started just speaking to each other. Peter and Anthony were already best friends in a way, and they welcomed me, and we started riding bicycles together. For some odd reason, we thought we were NASCAR drivers. So back then, it was Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt. I think he's still racing, but he's not as big. And Home Depot. And Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart was Peter was Jeff Gordon, and Anthony was Dale Earnhardt. We all thought we were specific race car drivers. We even had specific tracks. So we would race from one house to another on one track, and then the other track would be this house to this house. So we literally thought we did that. We had laps and various things like that. And it was a very interesting past, because after those events, things started to spiral downward for Peter and I. So after the Anthony and Peter and myself segment, Peter and Sean started clicking together after for a little bit, and I kind of started separating from Peter. For some odd reason, we stopped liking each other, and
not so much that we didn't like each other, we just didn't.
Yeah, we just didn't hang out. We kind of we started separating and stuff like that. But there was one funny story that I think some people know and some people don't know. But if you are watching this, because most of my subscribers are from my school, if you guys know about me and Peter. If you don't know this, there was one time where, and I wasn't physically abused. I wasn't not terrorized by this anymore or anything like that. But we were younger. We would wrestle and stuff like that because WWE SmackDown and WWE Raw was a big thing. But there's actually another story to add on to this one. So there was a point in time where I think we were 9 or 10 years old. I'm not too sure. And Peter and Sean, for some reason, were wrestling with me and started to gang up on me. And for some odd reason, Peter actually kneed me in the face, and I was bleeding on his couch. And they were all just worried, and we were just kind of well, what the hell happened? And it was a funny story because we were young, and we were over here making each other bleed and stuff like that. But to add on to that, Sean actually, I think it was 5 years down the line or 6 years down the line. So I think you were 15 or 16. Sean actually knocked down Peter on some tile floor,
No.
right? It was some tile floor.
No, but I wasn't 16.
How old were you?
I was probably like around that time also. I was like 8 years old because he was real into wrestling. So he got me in the tombstone or whatever, the pedigree. That's it. And so then I told him, put me down. And well, he took it literal. he dropped to his knees and my head hit the tile and I knocked out.
So he knocked out and Sean dragged him to his garage, which is now a TV room. He dragged him to there while his parents were in his around the area in the house. And Sean was freaking out and scared because he thought he might have just killed Peter. But Peter was just knocked out cold, and he woke up a couple seconds later. So in a way, we've had a rough, weird, violent past. But let's get now to a couple years after that. So Peter and I became close, going to...
Wait, but before you go on, because you said violent, it wasn't
necessarily violent, but
it wasn't like he beat me up. We were like because we were playing.
Yeah, it was just but it still is. It's a rough.
Yeah, but like they might perceive it like he kicked.
Everything wasn't intentional. It was all for games and fun. If you are at home watching this, don't do anything like that. Right? That's just us being dumb kids and dumb young. I guess you would say idiots. But let's skip a couple years after that. So going into our junior year, which is going to for junior high for us, I know a lot of people now have 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. For us, we were still in elementary at 6th grade before they made the switch from. So we were going to 7th grade, and for some reason, I guess we were both two kids bored out of our minds for the summer. And I think it was Peter who actually came to my house and said, "Hey man, you want to hang out?" So we kind of just started hanging out, clicking, and that's when we created the dumbest 3-letter symbol word. And I guess this is our first official announcement. Peter and I created this thing called, and it's very corny when you hear it, it's called APC. Now, if you put those 3 initials together, what is APC, Peter? Go ahead and tell them.
It's Alex, Peter, Canchola, Chavez.
So we both have the same last name initial as C, so we decided to do APC. And it's a slogan we've always had for some reason. When we'll get on to the future. We'll get on in a little bit about like how we created stuff at a younger age. But it's a slogan we created for some odd reason that we just thought of. We thought it was cool.
No, because we started hanging out because we were gonna be in football together.
So
we started, practicing and running routes, and that was our thing. Like instead of the triplets, or like the Cowboys in the 90s, it was supposed to be APC, and we were supposed to be like a combination, a quarterback and receiver. Yeah,
so that's how APC came about. And then after APC came about, we started hanging out a lot more, doing all the football stuff like that because we were both in football together, like Peter said. And for some odd reason, well, Peter, we'll go into more detail about what Peter and his photography, stuff like that. But just to give you a brief summary, Peter had a camcorder. And he would actually like do segments with our neighbors and stuff like that where we would create films like on his little camcorder. I think we have some of the tapes still. Where we would create films like that and stuff like that. And if you guys know of 2 OG YouTubers by the name of Smosh, they're not together no more, but Ian and Anthony created this channel called Smosh, which is still very much alive. And they inspired us to create sort of a together jointed media company, which actually hasn't happened until going to be happening soon. And that was where APC kind of like connected to, okay, well, we're not going to call ourselves Smosh because that's the same damn thing as the other people. So what can we call ourselves? So we're going to go ahead and start calling ourselves probably APC or APC Studios, where we can offer videography and photography packages to people. That way we can conjoin our 2 fields of knowledge and make a better product or a better service to whoever pays for us, which nobody has paid for us yet. Just saying. Obviously, Peter has been paid before for photography and stuff like that, but as a company together, we have not had any stuff like that. But we are going to be doing some hands-on work that will further development with one of our old friends named Joshua Quintero, who has the JAMIN juices. I'll link that also down below so you guys can check that if you are from the Mission, Texas area. That's where Peter and I are from. Shout out to the RGV. But Peter, before we get on to more into the stuff about with the weird past and how and about you getting married soon and stuff like that, why photography? what is it? Well, let's go first. So why photography, Peter? Why did you choose photography? I know we already touched on you doing the films and stuff like that with a little camcorder that was from back in 2000 something, but why photography? And go ahead and just like release a little story on that.
Well, the original reason why that became a thing was because initially I was 10 years old, and that's when I got the camcorder. I wanted to be a director for Hollywood movies, when I grew up and stuff. Of course, things didn't wind up that way, and eventually I stopped using the camcorder. I kind of just got away from that. I always still liked it, but I didn't put much effort into it anymore. But then it wasn't until you got your YouTube channel, and you were working on them, and I would help you out a bit, and I was helping you edit them, and from then it kind of brought that spark back, that I liked that kind of stuff, but I always envisioned kind of like of having like my own channel, like similar to like not like yours, but have my own thing. But I'm not as comfortable in front of the camera as you are, so that's where and because I stutter, and so I haven't yet though, but so that was a reason why I felt more comfortable being behind it, and I realized that I liked also the field of photography as well. I liked that you can be creative with it. I like that you could tell a story with just no words at all. It's just a picture, like they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and that's what I liked about it.
Gotcha. Also, to add on to that, guys, Peter talking about being behind the camera, he actually was sort of my cameraman for a little bit when I was still living here in the Valley. I was away in Houston for the past 3 years, so I wasn't able to always film with him, but he was my cameraman when I was home, and I'm pretty sure he still will help me out with some of the stuff that I can't do by myself now that I'm back home for a while now. But what I do want to ask you again, Peter, and just to go ahead and you can exaggerate, go ahead and tell them more. What do you envision yourself like in the future as far as photography? And do you want it to be like a major business for you, or do you maybe this may be more of a side hustle, or is it just like something that you just want to do as a hobby?
Well, right now it is a side hustle. Like you pointed out briefly earlier, I'm getting married pretty soon, within the year, and of course any extra cash helps out. But primarily, I would like to eventually for it to become a full-time business thing, and to where I can that's my total income. And
Gotcha, Peter. So Peter does want to do that. Like I said, guys, he has been paid before with clients. I'll link down his Facebook. He has a Facebook business page, and he has an Instagram as well. We'll go ahead and link those down below. And then we will be starting the APC Media account on Instagram soon. We're not going to be doing it as of right now, but just soon, once we create a product for one of our friends that we have, then we'll go ahead and upload that quickly. That way we're going to do it for free for him. That way he can, get some build up on as far as like the content creation part. But I know he's doing really good as far as like, just like with the juices and stuff like that. But Peter and I can join and maybe make something cool out of a thing, because you know what, like, I know he's making money. I haven't made any money yet as far as videography. I have been asked to do some stuff like that. I just haven't had the nerve. So he has more experience with working with clients. I haven't done that yet. But what I do want to go into now, guys, are a couple stories that people might find either cringy, weird, or if you know the stories about you, it's going to be a little offensive, I guess, if you do take it offensive. But it's the past, and then we were young, and it's just memories that you can always talk about. So one thing I want to mention, guys, real quick, the only reason why I'm saying this story is because my mom's reaction was very funny. Peter knows what I'm about to talk about. And it was so I think I was 14 or 15. I was with an ex-girlfriend at that point. I don't have any hatred for this female. This is an ex-girlfriend. Things don't work out anymore. So there's no reason to find it offensive at all, honestly, because we're just talking about a story. So for some odd reason, this female had the bright idea. So Peter is considered, like I said, you guys think he's my best friend. And this female was my girlfriend at the time. And we were all a circle of friends and stuff like that. So this female thought it was a bright idea to go ahead and tell Peter hey, let's call Alex and let's say, we've been together, blah, 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 behind his back and stuff like that. And keep in mind that this girl and I were still together at that point. And I was young and I was dumb and I was 14. And when you're young and dumb, you tend to overreact. And also, like, I was really jealous back then. But like I said, people learn how to evolve into different state of minds. So go ahead and Peter and tell them more about the story. How's it going, folks? So we had some technical difficulties because people didn't charge their cameras. The person next to me. But we're gonna go ahead and continue with just one camera. So Peter, go ahead and kind of extend on your part on what happened during that story, and then I'll go ahead and reenact my mom's reaction. That was really funny to me.
Okay, well, anyways,
remember, don't mention any names, Peter. We don't want to get sued over here.
Okay, well, this female,
yeah,
as you like to say, or this girl, I was with her. I don't remember why we were together. We were together with each other.
Yeah, hanging out, not like
hanging out.
Yeah,
we were hanging out.
Like, people can take things out of context.
Yeah, we were hanging out, and she got the bright idea, like, hey, let's call Alex and tell him that we kiss and all this stuff. And I told him, so and so, I don't know if this is a good idea. He's gonna take it up personal. He's gonna be upset. He's gonna think it's real and stuff. And she was like, well, yeah, that's the point, and stuff like that, because she knew you were jealous and stuff. So I kept on telling her, no, don't do it. And then she didn't listen, and she ended up calling you. Of course, you answer, and she tells you basically I don't know how to tell you this, but me and Peter kissed and stuff. And so, and of course, I don't remember if you just you hung up or what you did from there.
Yeah, I answered, and I for some reason I guess I was in shock. Remember, keep in mind I was 14 or 15 years old. I was a young kid, so I believed everything at that point. I think I started crying, like I started crying like if someone died, which was very awkward. And I was in the hotel. My mom had just rented out a hotel room, so my mom and stepdad, that way we can be at the pool. So I was like at a like one of those picnic tables that they sit at, and I answered the phone. I started crying, and my stepdad noticed that. And then I think they called back, right? I think somebody called back. I almost said the name.
well, before I didn't know that you weren't home. I thought you were there at your house.
Oh, okay.
So you weren't home?
No, I wasn't home.
We ruined the family vacation. What were we saying?
What happened? Second phone call. The second phone call.
So I told her, call him back. I told you he got upset, and so she kept on calling. He was ignoring us. I'm not sure exactly how many times she called you, but it was
2 or 3 times.
I thought it was more, but it was a good amount. And then I guess finally on the last call, your mom answered the phone.
My mom answered the phone, and she said she was very upset. But it was funny because as soon as she was about to hang up, she said, "Don't call back again." So it was just funny because obviously I wasn't laughing at that point in time, but now when I think about it, it's funny the way she reacted to it. Obviously, parents are going to try to protect you through any harm whatsoever. But that was a story that a lot of people actually don't know about. It's just the inner circle of us. Another story that Peter and I have. What's another story that we have besides that thing right there? Oh, another story that's also weird for all you males out there mainly, or even females. If you guys ever are both single with your best friends and you think that you're young and you think you got game and you think you go out there and
pick up anyone
from personal experience, maybe this is just us because we were all talk and literally all talk and nothing happened. But if you are going to do that, get some confidence, go ahead and follow through with what you're going to do. And just be calm and casual, because there was a time where Peter and I were both single. I think this was after that certain female. I think this was a couple.
Because you weren't.
Yeah. I think it was a couple months after that certain female that we just mentioned. And Peter and I, we wanted to go ahead and, for some odd reason, we thought we were going to be able to go to, it was a carnival in town at that point in time. And Peter and I dressed up all nice, put on cologne, put on some, mouthwash, blah, blah, blah. We went to the carnival together. We got our tickets, and we started walking around like creeps around the carnival and just walking around constantly. And we're like, hey, look at those girls. We can get them. Like, we can get their numbers and stuff like that. Keep in mind, we were 14 or 15 years old, so we weren't the best of talkers, and we weren't the brightest of young adolescents at that point.
And before you go into
Hey!
you can cut it out.
Yeah, but I gotta find it and stuff.
Okay. I think it was before that person.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I think once you broke up with her, well, she broke up with you. She broke up with you. That's when I was around that time when I was in my own relationship. So I don't think it was during that time. And this was before you had anyone. So of course you're not gonna know exactly what to say or what to do.
Yeah, I think so. So it was before.
It was before.
It was before this certain person. After all, I mixed up the storylines. It was before this certain person. Remember, we say person, Peter. We don't say the name verbatim. So we both thought we got game, and we ended up going home empty-handed. We basically just went on a date with each other, which is not. I'm not saying it's bad if you roll that way, but we went on a date with each other basically, and we were just walking around, thinking about that we were the coolest dudes on the block, but we were just two dumb idiots walking around.
We sat on a bench.
We sat on a bench together, and we were like, "Hey, look at that!" And we didn't do nothing. It was just a dumb story that we have, thinking that we were top notch. And I think it revolves around because Peter's dad, if you ever met him before, he's like a macho-y man, so he's always was persuading Peter, hey man, you can get these girls, blah blah blah. You got game, this and that. So I guess that talk kind of like reflected on the both of us, and we were both young, so we wanted to go ahead and test that out. And unfortunately, we sinked in the water. We didn't float. We just sinked straight through, and that was a young story. So if you are listening to this and you have a story similar to that, go ahead and comment down below. Or if you're on Spotify right now, just listen then. But yeah, guys, let's go on to a couple of years later. Peter got into a relationship with his current fiance, right?
Yeah.
Fiance, that's how you say it. A current fiance named Marla Garza. I was with another girl at that point as well, which I am not with that girl either. So Peter and I got closer, and kind of to just bundle all that dumb stuff that we just said together and stuff like that. Peter's going to get married soon. And we got closer. We started hanging out. I left to Houston as I went away to college. And we kind of just kept communication through Snapchat. We find it easier to talk and text through there. That way we can video chat. It's faster compared to texting because we don't have iPhone. Well, I have an iPhone. He doesn't. So we can't communicate like that the way we can communicate with iPhone users. And Peter, we got closer. And another thing to point out real quick, I gotta say this because unfortunately it's just something that I want you guys to know, which is I guess you can say it's a flaw about Peter. Peter is not a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Oh.
He is a Philadelphia Eagles fan. He's a Philadelphia Eagles fan, and he, for some odd reason, likes to bleed green. So we've always had competition. Oh, you know what? I actually just remembered.
Oh.
Because of the whole Eagles and Dallas, hatred towards each other, there was a time where Peter and I were in his living room, and I think we were watching some game. I don't know what game. I don't know if it was a Cowboys game. I don't know if it was anything like that. It was a game.
It was the Spurs.
It was a basketball game.
It
was a basketball game. We don't even like basketball that much. So what happened was Peter and I, we were young again, and we said some dumb things to each other about, I think it was something like about our moms. Everybody was making mom jokes. That's when, the whole show, Yo Mama, was a big thing around. Peter and I said some things, and for some reason, we just started swinging at each other. We started pushing each other around. We broke a damn lamp that to this day I don't think people even know about.
No, to begin with, the vase it was a vase.
Oh, it was a vase.
It's not in frame, but it was right here.
It was a vase that we broke, and because we were moving around, we were pushing each other, and I think we started laughing after we broke the vase because we're like,
first, I was scared because it was my mom's,
and we both like like we realized we messed up, and then we kind of just like laughed about it, like, oh crap, this and that. But just to further bundle, because I know I don't want to take too much time off of you guys. This is our first podcast. I don't want it to be too long. But just to bundle it all up, Peter and I became closer at the end of our years, as far as, you know, just the recent years as I was away in college. And then just to go off of the main topic of this thing, guys, is you're not always going to have millions of friends. You know, like me being a social media person that wants to be a social media influencer, I know what network, like I understand what networking is. And I'm not just, you're not always going to be friends with this person, but you can gain off something of that person, and someone, they can benefit from each other, mutual benefit. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're always going to be friends, because you'll realize who's there for you through your darkest times, and you'll realize who's not there for you through your darkest time. I'm not necessarily calling out anyone. I'm just trying to say, like, just because you may have a certain amount of following, or just because you may have a certain amount of friends on Facebook, or friends, like as far as from high school, you were Mr. Popular and you had 200 friends, I will be the first to tell you how just because you may have a certain amount of friends that you used to have in high school, I'll be the first to tell you that I had a lot of friends in high school, and they still are. I would call them acquaintances now, and they're cool people, don't get me wrong. But just because you may have one or two good friends or best friends now in your life doesn't necessarily make you a loser. So don't feel like, oh, I only got one friend, man, I'm not cool. No, you know what? That one friend, if they're super loyal and they're always going to be there for you through your darkest times, like Peter has through me, like with my brother's funeral and stuff like that, that just gives you a connectivity where it makes the friend, instead of whether you're a girl on girl, it makes a sister. If it's a boy on two males, it'll be a brotherhood that can last a lifetime. So don't feel bad if you're young and you're still in high school and you're listening to this, whether you're older or if you're still listening to this and you're older now. Don't feel bad just because you have one friend. As long as you just got one good friend, one good best friend that you can call, that can be there for you always, no matter what, that can criticize you, that can push you, and always tell you when you're wrong, and put you in your place and be like, hey, you're not following with your dreams, you're not following with your desires, you got to get up and chase after it. That is always going to be one friend that you can always keep around for the rest of your life. You don't necessarily need 4 or 5 people around you that, you know, only one person is there for you, and those 4 other people are just people that you just call. And I feel like we've had some issues with that with other people. And I'm not saying Sean, but people around us, you know, we just lost touch, you know, stuff like that. From me personally, I've lost touch with people. Peter, I'm pretty sure he's lost touch with some of his acquaintances, people he calls acquaintances now, that were super close somewhat in high school. But it's just a common thing. It's life. You know, people move on. People get busy. People start their own lives with their kids and stuff like that. But now I'm going to go ahead and end off this podcast, guys. I hope you enjoyed mostly everything. I know Peter didn't talk that much, but he is going to be coming on more frequently as a guest, or as a co-host to people who come onto this podcast. And that way we can go ahead and get an interaction through Peter and I, and also to the third guest. And I want to thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast, whether you're on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. If you're on Spotify, go ahead and follow me, and just keep on following me. Keep on listening out to I will be posting probably maybe once a week or twice a week. I'm not promising anything, but at least once a week I do promise. But what I do want to say, guys, is keep your friends close and keep your enemies closer. I do want to give a big thanks for Peter coming onto this podcast. I know he is not the most comfortable being on camera, but we are going to try to help him be more comfortable. And I know I'm going to try to help other people who are also trying to go into business, social media, with their businesses, get them more comfortable to be on talk on camera. I am looking at the reason why I keep on looking to my left side, guys, because I am looking at an audio thing just to make sure the audio is working for you guys, so you can hear a hello. And we're going to end off the podcast, guys, with a big thank you. Thank you so much for watching. And also, Sean, we got a nice big surprise for you, Sean. We're going to go ahead and sing song of Sean. Ready, Peter? In 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Bye, guys.